Caitlin Clark didn't play, she didn't lace up. She didn't throw a single pass, make a single three, or give the crowd one of her signature no-look dimes. And yet, 1.9 million people tuned in to watch her team. Not her team. It was one of the highest-rated WNBA regular season games in 2 decades, and she wasn't even on the floor. But somehow, somewhere in the middle of this viewership earthquake, Angel Reese decided it was her moment. The game wasn't just a matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky. It was a cultural litmus test dressed as a basketball game. And as the Fever walked away with a 27-point demolition, without Caitlin, Angel Reese did what she does best. She stepped to the mic, real or virtual, and redirected the spotlight to herself. "Look at me," her energy screamed. "This is my win too." And to be fair, she had played. She grabbed rebounds. She yelled. She gave her signature scowls. 4 points, 12 boards, 2 assists. But it wasn't her performance people remembered. It was the viewership. While Caitlin sat calmly in street clothes, nursing an injury, and still pulling more camera pans than the actual players on the floor, Angel Reese took to social media, using the numbers as if she were dissecting stock portfolios. She wanted everyone to know the 1.9 million wasn't a Caitlin stat. It was an Angel stat. According to her math, the people came for her. They came for the physicality, for the attitude, for the bricks that echoed louder than her stat line. In her version of the truth, Caitlin was a subplot. The narrative belonged to her. But here's the problem with trying to rewrite the script. The audience already knows the plot. And this plot begins and ends with Caitlin Clark. The numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark is gravity. She pulls in viewers. Fans, headlines, network contracts, whether she's on the court or sitting with an ice pack on her knee. Her name trends before tip-off. Her warm-ups are posted on TikTok before the buzzer. And when she doesn't show up, the ratings still do. That's not hype. That's cultural weight. That's the kind of star power that doesn't need a post-game quote to go viral. She breathes, and the WNBA trembles, and Angel Reese knows it. That's why she's shouting into the void, trying to carve out her place, trying to convince the world that 4 points and a handful of dramatic gestures are enough to spark a ratings surge, that her energy, not Caitlin's presence or absence, is the reason people are tuning in. But it's not. Because when Caitlin isn't on the floor and the audience still watches, it's not a victory for the opposition. It's a reflection of her magnetism. People watch the Fever because they associate the brand with Caitlin Clark. Not because the Sky is stepping into the building. Angel's campaign to claim the moment might have been more effective if the game had been close. If her team hadn't been blown out. If her stat line didn't read like an off night from a bench player. But none of that mattered to her. All she saw was the number, 1.9 million. And in her mind, that number wore a crown with her name on it. Caitlin, meanwhile, didn't say a word. She clapped. She smiled. She stayed calm. And when the cameras inevitably zoomed in on her adjusting her hoodie or sipping water, the crowd cheered louder than they did for any layup. There's a lesson here, one that Angel Reese still refuses to learn. Star power isn't declared, it's demonstrated. Over time, over pressure, over silence. You can post all the stat graphics you want. You can drop buzzwords and retweets and tell yourself that you're the draw. But when 1.9 million people show up, and the storyline is still Caitlin Clark sitting on a bench, you're not the center of the storm. You're caught in it. This isn't a rivalry built on basketball alone. It's something bigger. It's spectacle. It's sports meets showbiz. And Angel Reese, for all her flaws, is necessary to the drama. She's the antagonist, the disruptor, the unpredictable variable. She's loud. She's expressive. She brings a tension that makes people lean in. And in the grand soap opera of WNBA viewership, she's playing her part to perfection. But she's not the reason people buy tickets. She's the reason they stay seated after halftime. Caitlin Clark is the reason they show up in the first place. What's so fascinating about this storyline is how different their styles are. Angel is all energy, arms flailing, scowls locked in, celebrations that feel like theater. Caitlin is all precision, quiet, focused, like a machine wrapped in human confidence. Angel flexes, Caitlin flows. One is fire, the other is gravity. Both matter. But only one moves the needle when she's not even holding it. The idea that Angel Reese drove those ratings with a 4-point performance is like saying the halftime show was the reason people watched the Super Bowl. People didn't tune in for the bricks. They came for the drama. They came for the whispers of Caitlyn. And in the vacuum of her absence, they watched for a glimpse of her return. Because whether she's on the court draining threes or nodding from the bench, Caitlyn Clark commands a presence that no tweet can replace. And every time someone else tries to co-opt that spotlight, it just ends up shining brighter on her. That's what happened with Angel, again. She's in a primetime game on network television in front of a sellout crowd, and all anyone can talk about still is Caitlyn Clark. And that eats at her. You can see it in the quotes, in the post-game side eyes, in the constant need to inject herself into the conversation. She's tired of playing second fiddle in a song she thinks she helped write. But the truth is, she didn't. Caitlyn Clark wrote this verse solo. The views, the momentum, the re-energized interest in women's basketball, that wasn't a team effort. That was a single-player initiative. And it started long before Angel Reese realized she needed to be part of the storyline. Now, to be fair, Angel brings something Caitlyn doesn't. She brings friction. She brings noise. She brings that unfiltered audacity that fans love or love to hate. She's essential to the narrative, but not in the way she thinks. She isn't the protagonist. She's the foil. Her role is crucial. But it's reactive, not foundational. Every time she tries to take ownership of the narrative, the numbers politely correct her. And nothing is louder than 1.9 million people showing up for a game where you barely registered on the scoreboard. This isn't about who wants the crown. It's about who wears it effortlessly. Angel Reese is campaigning for a title that Caitlyn Clark already earned without saying a word. That's the real gap between them, not points or rebounds or media soundbites, but gravity. Caitlyn Clark isn't trying to dominate the sport. She already is. The WNBA's ratings boom isn't a mystery. It's a Caitlyn Clark story with occasional guest stars. It's her effect, her echo, her shadow that follows every game, every matchup, every press conference. An Angel can scream into the void as much as she wants, but that echo isn't fading. Anytime soon. It's not that Angel Reese doesn't matter, she does. But she's not the reason the scoreboard lights up at CBS. She's not the reason Grandma knows the name of the Indiana Fever. And she's certainly not the reason kids are buying jerseys in record numbers. That credit belongs to Caitlyn Clark. Whether she's dropping 30 or sitting in sweats, her impact doesn't dim, it multiplies. So go ahead, Angel. Keep the tweets coming. Post the stats. Shout the claims. But understand the numbers will always whisper the same truth louder than any caption ever could. Caitlyn Clark is the draw, and you're just trying to keep up with her orbit. If you found this breakdown compelling, hit that like button, subscribe for more sports truth-telling, and let us know in the comments. Is Angel Reese helping or hurting her case? And does anyone in the WNBA have the pull Caitlyn Clark has, even from the bench?